Good morning and welcome to Local Business Focus. I'm Jen McGinley and joined again in the studio for another session is our IT expert Peter Trenaman of Groupsupport. Good morning.
Good morning, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back to talk to us more about a subject which a lot of us tend to not want to learn about because it makes our brain hurt, but it is so important for small businesses.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much for having the patience to do that. It's wonderful. So today what I want to ask you about is technology typically can be pretty expensive.
Absolutely.
Although prices are cheaper now than they ever have been for little small bits and pieces.
Yes and no. That's the thing. There's two sides of it, and renting or buying technology is the subject we're talking about today.
That's it.
Buying has traditionally been the way, bricks and mortar, those sort of things.
Yes.
People like to touch things and be able to see it, and the electronic stuff they can't see and can't touch, and so they're a little bit dubious sometimes if it's a bit on the ether. The younger crowd, they don't mind. They understand and they appreciate that the cloud is secure in as far as being able to access what they would need when they need it. But of course there are downsides. Legal requirements, data requirements, all that sort of stuff. And I must mention from the get-go at this point that any advice I give is general only, especially when it comes to these sort of legal things, and especially when it comes to your finances. It has to be a tailored solution for you as a business, and any expert will tell you and give you the right advice if they're worth the money. Okay? If you want to listen to our first session when I talked about an expert being on your side, then that would be the perfect opportunity to sort of refer back to that before you proceed.
Sure.
Technology, we've got more options nowadays. So it's becoming cheaper, yes, but there's also more options, more finance options. You can buy and then you can do the lease things with banks and finance companies, and they're more than happy now to actually give you more options with finances. You can rent hardware, you can rent space, so virtual space, you can rent software, you can do licensing by the month on an array of things. Okay, so let me go through a couple of examples.
Okay. You can see my brain talking already.
Okay, so we have one situation where a client needs to buy a server. Okay, they need something that's physically on premise. Okay, their connections are poor.
Okay.
They don't have good access to the internet, and they need something that's accessible to run their business. Okay, so they need a physical server, and because of that, it makes it, and it's worth their while to actually buy the software as well.
Okay.
Now, they don't turn over machines very quickly. Okay, so they'll keep the machine for. Now, this is where the hackles on my neck start raising at 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Usually, a machine is good for 3 or 4 before you start considering. You should be budgeting to replace it between 3 and 5.
Okay.
Now, some people like to keep it for 5, 6, 7, and 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Really? Yes. But some people just can't bear to part with the money. But that depends on what they're doing with the machine. If it suits and it fits, then there's no real need to change. Okay, except if it's insecure. And this is where the cybersecurity side of things comes into being, and we spoke about that last week.
Yeah.
So you may want to just refer to that session in regards to those things. But that's one of the reasons to update with the latest cybersecurity and the security side of things. Where was it? Yes, one of the clients has a server, and they've got workstations that they have bought. Now, they'll keep the machines for 6 or 7 years. Okay, so over time, the cost per machine is quite low. They're towards the end of their life, they're paying a little bit more in maintenance to keep the machines going. And as long as they look after the machines and actually do the right thing during the lifetime of the machines, they're fine. Someone who's hard on their machines or has good connectivity or very mobile, renting a machine or renting space is a lot better option. We have 2 sales guys, okay? They operate on their own, okay? Everything's in the cloud. They have laptops that are on lease, okay? They're leased by the month.
Okay.
So their Office software, their Windows software, their platform that they use for their accounts and their sales is all by the month, okay? And when that dies or breaks or they drop it or lose it, they just pick up a new one, load the software and keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not bound to a piece of software.
No.
It's not bound to a time frame, and they can keep rotating, and
Yeah.
they rotate it quickly.
Yeah.
You know, some of the salesmen, they'll go through a machine every 9 or 10 months.
Because that's their
right.
tool for their business.
That's right,
Yeah.
and it gets thrown onto the seat of the truck or the seat of the car or the office or whatever. And you know, those sort of things. Now, in every situation, there's a scale somewhere between. Okay, so if you for instance, one of the names I use for the stories of my clients is Frank. Frank's a nice, safe name, and every client that I use as an illustration is called Frank. Okay, excuse me. So this Frank went from having a free email account with the group of staff that they had, and they needed to pay for some stuff. Okay, they couldn't afford a lot because the cash flow of the business was still being ploughed into development. So what they did is they went to the hire model, it's the rental model. Okay, so they had some laptops and things which were theirs, they bought or got on special, you know, from the local hardware supplier or whatever, and they purchased the email software and the office software on a rental basis.
Okay.
Okay, so it's cheaper. They don't have to outlay much capital. Okay, so they can, you know, sort of manage the cash flow a lot better. At some point down the line, they will need to buy some software and buy some hardware to substantiate some of the other things they want to do with their business. But they can put that off a little bit, knowing that they are just coping at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, and like every other situation, if you're managing your cash flow and managing your business process and your development versus investment versus whatever you're doing in your business, your IT expert, the person who's standing by you, can guide you and help you decide on the best combination. So some people have a rental model on some software and a buy model on the other software.
Okay.
You know, they have a mix, a hybrid. Now, that also depends upon your legal requirements because not all software is based in Australia. Now, there's some legal requirements about finance and those sort of things that mean that you can't use software that's based outside of Australia.
Okay.
Okay. Now, not everybody knows that.
No.
Okay. And once again, that goes back to this buy or rent.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's all about finance, but it's all about strategic finance. It's all about how you're using the money in your business and what you want out of that money. You know, and your IT provider, your guru, your trusted person, will help you. Now, there's the other part I must mention. The subscription model is designed so that it keeps the people who write software in business.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not only at the advantage of the business owner at this end.
Okay.
The provider then gets a steady income instead of you buying Office or something once and then 6 or 7 years later you buy it again. Now that's a completely random time frame. And if you like, the flow of money back to the vendor is very lumpy.
Yeah.
You can't predict it or anything like that. Whereas you can predict a monthly outgoing. You know, $10 a month or whatever it is, you can predict it, which means the accountants of the world are happy. Okay. Now, if we did everything to suit the accountants of the world, no, I'm not.
There'll be lots of profit.
I'm not going there. No, I'm not going there. No.
That's another show and another.
That's right. So just be aware that it's not always the best and most economical option. It may suit your cash flow
to have a subscription.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's not always the best option economically.
Yeah.
Okay. You can end up paying more.
Absolutely.
You know,
because if you buy something outright, that's yours. You bought it.
That's right.
The cost is sunk.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's an assessment every time you buy, every time you look at renewal, every time you look at those things. You know, and a 5 or 10 minute or 15 minute phone call, you know, about as long as this interview. Okay. Usually covers off a whole range of things and helps you on your way.
And with things like those packages you can buy subscriptions for, if you were to buy it outright and then a new version comes out, do you then need to buy the complete new version?
Well, that depends upon the version that you bought and what you bought with it.
Right.
Some come with an update for 12 months or 2 years or 5 years. Or some have a lump sum, so you might pay $100 and then pay $10 a year to update it.
Okay.
most of those sort of models work on about a 20% renewal, so that a maintenance fee. So you pay $100, for instance, using simple maths, pay $100 for the software, and then from year 2 on, you get updates free, or you get updates included in a $25 fee every year, as 20 or 25% of the original purchase price. Okay, some work like that, some don't. Who knows? I mean, and that's part. There's thousands of bits of software out there.
Yes.
So you need to talk to your IT provider, talk to your trusted professional to find out which is best for you, and work through all these things. And as I said, 15 minutes saves you a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's to do with your business.
And it's your money.
Yes.
It's your money.
Yeah.
Use it wisely.
Yeah.
So, I think that's about.
Well, can I ask one thing, Peter, about the cloud?
Oh yes.
Because as far as I understand it, with the cloud, we rent space on the cloud.
That's right.
So that's a form of renting your storage and your.
Yeah, but they are simply machines in another location.
Okay.
So there's a machine, a server in a building, somewhere in a city, somewhere in the world, okay, and they're all together as a cloud. It's not some nebulous thing. It is a physical machine.
It's not actually a cloud, right?
No, it's a physical machine somewhere. So it's subject to all the things that are normally. But the company that runs the cloud has got 1,000 machines they're looking after, and there are people who do that every day. And so economies of scale make it cheaper for them to look after those servers and those pieces of machinery. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why it's a lot cheaper in some situations.
Okay.
Okay. But it's still a machine. So if you rent a piece of someone's machinery, okay, it doesn't matter where it is, you have to pay something. Okay. And if you're not paying anything for it, you're paying in another way. They're harvesting your information.
Okay.
They're using your name. They're I don't know what they could be doing. It's all in the terms and agreements. Now, how many of people have read the term?
Tick. I just want to have the storage on my cloud for all my photographs.
16 pages they scroll through and tick the box at the bottom.
Yeah, no, I get them to email it to me and then I think I'll read it later.
That's right, yeah. It goes to spam or delete or whatever, that's right. Yeah. And in those, in the what's called the EULA, the End User License Agreement, okay, that teaches you or tells you what they're going to do in response to your payment. Okay. Okay. A good example is the Fitbits. Okay, I've got a Fitbit on me now.
You do?
Okay, and it counts the steps. So, I've been trying to lose some weight and lots of stuff, and for the most part, it's been mediocre at doing that. It hasn't forced me to walk any further anyway. So, but the actual Fitbit itself cost me $100. Okay, but the terms and conditions for using it means that they statistically add my figures into their pool. Okay. So they know 50-year-old blokes, okay, walk 10,000 steps a week, okay, and they spend time outdoors and all that sort of stuff. So they get your data. That's right. Part and parcel of you having the Fitbit and using it. That's right. What's called metadata. Metadata. That is metadata. So it's not got Peter Trenaman on it. It's not got Groupsupport on it. It's not got anything that identifies me personally. Okay. What it does have is my statistics. So I'm between 45 and 55. I am reasonably healthy. I walk, those sort of things. Okay. So so there's a trade-off between paying money, okay, and having your details. Some companies don't want your details. Some do. So it depends on what the EULA says. Okay. So you always have the option to opt out. You rarely have an option to take it all back. Yeah, once you've ticked the box. That's right. And got the software that they have your data. That's right. And they will continue getting that data as it feeds for as long as the license goes. Okay. So it could be 2, 3, 5 years. Okay. Depending on what you're doing. And that's just part of this rental thing. A lot of the companies put some of these clauses in. Some companies are very good about it and some are not. Now I can't tell you which ones are and which ones are not. Okay. I'd be up for a few lawsuits and things like that if I started. But what I can tell you is you need to read the terms and conditions. That long document that nobody likes reading. There's no getting away from it. No. You need to read the fine print. You know.
Thank you once again for a great and informative session. Peter Trenaman of Groupsupport.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Groupsupport have been our station sponsors today.